Hello, Top Fan Rivalry followers, and welcome to another edition, the final edition for the season at least, of College K. Dave, we wound it down, huh? We made it happen all the way through the season
We made it all the way through. There you go. All the way through to the bitter end.
to the bitter end. And there were some questions there. You and I we're not as young as we used to be. Sometimes we record these things late at night. I mean, getting old, it's
That's
that.
all
No, I'm
right.
just
Yeah, traveling and trying to coordinate schedules. Yeah.
exactly. Traveling, coordinating schedules, different time zones. It's been great. So, Dave, you have some history with the University of Tennessee, and the University of Tennessee just did something this week, didn't they?
Yeah, they won their first national championship in baseball. So big deal in Knoxville.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet there's going to be some type of something fun at the school for them, I bet.
There's a parade today.
Okay. Okay. All
Yep.
right.
It was on SEC Network. I didn't watch it, but it was.
Yeah. So you and I talked about this offline and online. Tennessee was ranked number one in the tournament, then ranked number one in the not only in the tournament but in the nation for D1. They came in as the powerhouses, and unbeknownst to a lot of times when you have different things in tournaments, you know, it didn't um, they didn't fail, and so they won the whole thing. So, what are your thoughts on how this has all played itself out?
Well, my number one thought is that just getting off to a slow start and barely squeaking into the tournament and not being able to host a regional or a super regional. So this year they made sure they controlled every variable and made sure that they were going to host both, which gave
Mhm.
them much better chances to come out of both unscathed, which they did, and got to Omaha with you know everybody healthy, lots of pitching, and basically the favorite. So you know top eight, which gets you a super regional in a hosting bid. So that was a big part of the formula for them. And then, once you get to Omaha, it's just all bets are off. You got to win what they have to win, 3 games, 4 games to win the whole thing. So,
Okay. They didn't have to go through a loser's bracket. They just kind of
right.
took control of some things. Now, there was a couple of games that it could have gone either way,
Yeah,
um, but they figured it out.
absolutely. I mean, that Florida State game, the first game, by all rights, they should have lost. And the Florida State fans will say it's called. And then they got a rematch of Florida State and handled them much easier. Um, so so there's that. And then they lost the first game to A&M, and then you're down late in the second game. You're a couple innings away from being done. And they came back to life. A couple of big home runs, Dylan Dreiling, Kel Stark, and then you go to game three, and it's anyone's game, and they get a nice big lead. And you know had the I think they had the winning run at the plate and something like that. So anything could have happened.
Yeah, anything goes, and especially in those tournaments, especially dare I say with the kids, right? I mean, it's a whole different thing when first of all, when you play in the SEC, you're probably going to be on TV at some point. But when you're in Omaha, you know that every game is on TV. So every success is magnified, every failure is magnified, right? I mean, let's go back to right before Omaha,
Well, and
where go ahead, I'm sorry.
you've got, like, I think I saw they set an attendance record again. So like 25,000 people watching you. I mean, it's a big deal in college when 5 or 6 thousand people are there. I got 25,000 plus you got a national TV audience.
Yeah, every success is magnified, every failure is also magnified. And you see it happening um when you're watching the games. I mean, go back to the super regional where who was it? Was it Florida that got that had the walk off? Um, what on the double down in left center?
Could have been.
Yeah, and so everything is magnified. Everything is on both sides, positive and negative. So it's tough. So now we enter into, for lack of better terms, the twilight zone, right? Because you've got the draft. After the draft, you've got all these kids that are going to look to sign letters of intent, whether they're in high school or whether they're already in college. Some of them coming back to school, some of them moving around. I know you mentioned that there's several hundreds, even into the thousands of kids in the portal. So it gets kind of tricky, doesn't it?
It does get tricky. I just want to mention one other thing too before we switch gears is that,
Yeah.
you think about it from Texas A&M's point of view, right? And you're like, well, I don't want Chris. No, I'm going to take my chances with everyone else. And
Yeah.
look at what happened.
Yep.
Dylan Dreiling, Kavaris Tears, Cal Stark beat you. You know, Christian Moore did his thing. He got a walk before a home run, and you know, Burke had a good series. But you're A&M, you're like, well, I think we did our job, and we still lost, which is tough. That just shows you how deep that offense is. So,
Yeah.
um,
100%.
but yeah, switching gears then, like silly season starts right away. I think in the press conference after the game, somebody asked if he was going to leave, and his answer wasn't, you know, you know, bad moment, bad timing for the question, but somebody was going to ask it, and he didn't deny it. And then, sure enough, today, barely a day after the last game, he quits and is going to Austin to coach the University of Texas. So now you've got an opening at A&M. You've got a bunch of other stuff going on in the coaching and college baseball, and then the transfer portal.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot that has to come into that. There's a lot that comes into play, right? And so, yeah, I'm not a big fan too of the the people in the media love to ask the question to get the jump, but there's not. I mean, you literally just ended the season. The last out was recorded 24 hours, less than 24 hours, and you're asking a question. You're already jumping the gun, right? And so, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of that stuff.
Yeah,
You,
well, somebody was going to ask it, and if you're the guy on the other side of the mic, you said, "Well, timing might be wrong, but I may as well ask it because somebody else is going to."
I'm gonna
And
get.
I
I'm gonna get the
thought
story.
the coach, I thought the coach handled it well. He just said, "Look, I tore my family. I left my family. I did everything to come here and win. Write about that. Don't write about anything else." But he didn't deny it. And then, sure enough, today it was true. But it's a $3.5 million contract. I think it's 10 years. It's unprecedented in college baseball.
3.5 million. That's what 3,000, or that's 300,000 a year.
No, 3.5 per year.
Oh, 3.5 per year.
Yeah.
Okay, I was thinking 3.5 per years. Yeah, it's not too hard to move colleges when you're looking at 3.5 per year.
Well, and he gets to bring his entire coaching staff from A&M. So basically, they all quit. And
Hmm. Well, A&M will rebuild. A&M
that's
will rebuild.
it's a really good team, and somebody's going to jump at the opportunity to coach that team.
Well, but that comes with its own pressures, right? You succeed, people are going to say, "Hey, you were the right guy to handle the ship." If you lose, then people are going to say, "Well, you had a winning team. What's going on?" So,
Well, if you're a coach and you're looking for, so I I I would think people would jump at that in the fact that they're in the SEC, they've got a good fan base, a good opportunity to compete with, this new era where athletes will get paid. And
Yeah.
who knows what happens after all this? The whole team might jump in the transfer portal. Who knows? But hopefully they stay together because they've got a good squad.
There you go. There you go. Well,
That
you can
that's the silliness. As soon as you have a coaching change, then all the and they basically get a free pass to go look around and see if there's a better spot.
yeah. Which there's something to be said about loyalty, right? But they're also kids and they're also trying to figure it all out, right? My buddy goes
Yeah,
here and he keeps trying to tell me to come here, and now I got a new coach, so I'm good.
yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, I like that. So, what do you think is going to happen during what I call a Twilight Zone, what you call a silliness season? Um, any surprises?
Well,
Any
you've got
kids
over
that
2,000 kids in the portal. If you divide that, if you just looked at the portal and the 2,200 kids that are there, I mean that's enough to make up like I don't know, eight or nine, 80 or 90 full teams.
yeah,
It's crazy how many kids are in the portal. So obviously not all of them are going to find homes and they're going to have to drop to D2 or three or something, but a lot of them will. I look at it like it's a shopping mall for these coaches to go get what they need. They just, I'm going to grab a right-handed pitcher. I'm going to grab a first baseman. I'm going to grab a. So it's kind of crazy, the way things work these days, but that's the truth. And in Tennessee's case, I don't know, they're going to have at least 10 or 12 guys eligible for the draft that are all going to go pretty high and get nice signing bonuses. So, 2/3 of that team could turn over between graduation and the draft. Christian Moore should be top 10. Blake Burke will be top 20. Billy Amick, Drew Beam will be should be a first round pick. There's four. Dylan Dreiling, I don't know if you saw this, but he hit a 2-run home run in the seventh inning of all 3 games against A&M. How consistent is that? So, and that kid really showed on the big stage.
yeah,
So he's
yeah.
going to go high. Um, Cal Stark is a warrior. He's going to get drafted. Somebody's going to take a shot at him. Great defensive catcher. And there, AJ Causey, the side armor. Somebody's going to fall in love with that. It's going to turn over. So
You- Prediction time. Who do you think was number one overall?
I think it'll be Condon, but if it was me, I would take Christian Moore.
Okay. Um, I'm forgetting the pitcher's name over at Wake Forest for a second. I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah, Chase Burns.
Chase Burns. He should go in the top five, maybe top 10, but I would imagine he'd go in the
Charlie
top
Condon
five.
are probably the top three.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And he's what, a junior now?
Yeah, they're all junior or 21 to be draft eligible.
Yeah, yeah. Um, do you think is there any surprises that you're gonna see coming up into this season that you're thinking, I'd be surprised if this kid went or this kid didn't go?
Before the season, Christian Moore was a second or third round pick. So I think it's not a surprise, but it's a good outcome that he's moved up because he's had a terrific season. And I mean he hit everybody. I don't care what pitcher you threw at him, he hit him. Um, it's stuff like that. I think Drew Beam, you know, people say whatever about him, but I think he's super consistent and he keeps your team in games. So he should go higher than what they're projecting, I think. Um, Chase Burns, uh, he'll go high. I don't think there's any surprise there. The surprise will be how he does when he finally gets to a minor league team and starts throwing pro ball.
Yeah, yeah. And try to understand different hitters and timing and things like that. And right now, at the major league level, you're seeing it. I mean, the Astros brought up a guy from Double A this last week, and immediately he pitched an inning, 4 1/3 innings, and he's now in the 15 DL with shoulder tightness.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
um,
it's tough. Super, super tough. Another guy we haven't talked about is the kid at Florida, Jack Caglione,
yeah,
who is, the SEC's answer to Shohei. Um, Throws from the left side, really good pitcher, really good hitter. He's going to go high as well. I don't know if he plays. Both of them did it in the SEC pretty well.
yeah, yeah. No, I watched. You're right. We haven't talked about him much. I watched a little bit of a game that he was pitching in and hitting, and I thought, this kid can play. This
Yeah,
this kid can
yeah.
play.
He was their best hitter and best pitcher. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and you
Well,
see how
well,
far he took them.
yeah. So I'm excited to see how, because you and I have done the show all season long. I'm excited to see who goes in the draft and where they go. And I could care less about the signing bonuses and the numbers. I mean, that's all that stuff is that, to me, that's just semantics, right? I mean, that is what it is. I'm looking more at where do these guys go and how long is their journey from college ball up to the pros if they make it all the way.
Mhm.
And you know, I hate to say this, especially the show's called College K, right? And so I hate to say this, but you're seeing a lot of pitchers in Major League Baseball now go down with Tommy John. And I don't know if that's how much work they're getting um, prior. I don't know if that's how much work they're getting prior to making the show. I don't know if it's because they're worried about velo. There's a number of things that you and I have talked about, but yeah, it
Yeah,
is.
I think I put an article in your locker room about
Yep,
that.
yep. No, you did, and
Uh,
it's just
some of the
interesting to.
research that's out there, and
Mhm.
yep,
It's interesting to me, Dave, because you got guys like we're talking about Burns, right? How long does it take him to get to the show? Is he going to end up in Double A next season? And then if if the White Sox take him, for example, or the Miami Marlins take him, or a team that's kind of rebuilding Colorado, does he end up in the show next season? Because they run out of arms. It's conceivable, right?
yeah, you don't know. You would like to think that they would have a more patient pick last year out of Tennessee, and I think he's in Double A for the Rockies, and I think he's having a pretty good year. But I think, looks to me like they're slow rolling it a little bit and not pushing it too hard.
Yeah,
He's definitely competitive in Double A right off the bat, so that's probably a good comparison.
yeah. Yeah, and it's very true. I mean, a lot of these guys that are playing SEC ball, a lot of the guys that we've been talking about will spend very little time in A ball, but will be at in Double A. Some of them may get to Triple A in the next season, but again, you're talking about unless you're an extraordinary talent, if you come out your junior year, so like you say, they're either juniors or they're 21 years old. So the um, let's assume somebody graduated high school at 17. They're now 20 years old and they're a junior. If they're pitching against guys that are 23, 24, 25 that are a lot stronger, had a lot more time professional wise, they're going to look pretty bad, right? And so each class,
Unless you've been doing it in the SEC already, because that's what you're facing,
so yeah, exactly. Unless you've been doing it in the SEC, I need to look up
or
a,
the ACC.
yeah, yeah. Oh my, why not the Pac 97 or whatever it is now, Pac 12, Pac 14, whatever,
Yeah, the
right?
Pac-2.
Yeah. I'm trying to look up. So I saw a guy pitch the other day, and I don't know where he went to college. I'm trying to look that up now. So oh, no, that's not. So I saw this kid pitch. I saw Zach Plesac pitch this weekend, and he got lit up. He got lit up. Now, um, he's only been in the majors on and off sporadically. He hasn't done much from that perspective. I'm trying to figure out um, you know, where he went to college, but it's not telling me right now.
He may not
Oh,
have. I don't know.
Ball
Okay.
State University. Yeah, but he got lit up against the Dodgers. First inning looked good, looked really really good. Second inning, they put 3 runs on him. Shohei hit a home run off of him. First pitch fastball, uh, little under the knees. Shohei, I don't know how you say it in Japanese, but he yelled four. I heard it from the top deck. Fight, and then I think that meant four. And then he hit the ball out of the yard, 3/4 of the way up the right field bleachers. So I thought, huh, all right, well, welcome to the majors, Mr. Hobbs. So it worked out well. But yeah, it'll just see how these guys
There you
play
go.
itself out.
Yeah.
And my understanding too now, a lot of these minor league clubs, especially AAA clubs, are getting meal plans from the big club because at least I know from some of the clubs that I've talked to as far as AAA clubs, when you're at AAA, at least for some organizations, you're interchangeable. It's like JV and varsity. You come up, you go down. You come up, you go down. As long as they can do that. So a lot of these guys are getting um, these meal preps and things like that, and they want them to eat a certain way and build a certain amount of muscle and things like that. So hopefully it gets them healthy and strong. Hasn't worked for Houston, but besides for that, I mean,
Well, it's all different in the minor leagues now because they've got a union and they got representation, and then you lost dozens of teams. You lost 20 rounds in the draft. So there's a lot fewer guys in the minor leagues and they're treating them better. And the college and the quality of ball goes up in college. So it's a trickle down effect, but that's what's going on. So hopefully the guys that do make it, when they make it, they're treated well and give it their
you can
best
only
shot.
hope. You can only hope, right? You can only hope. So, all right, Dave. So we gotta get a few things going for the draft. And so, for those of you that are fans of College K, trust me, we will get you draft information. We may do some stuff live. We may do some stuff after the draft is over, talking about where the specific kids went, how that matches up with things. Obviously, we're not in the room, so we don't know how certain things match up. But big clubs may look at certain players and think that guy's a fit. But also, too, a lot of things that people don't recognize, Dave, and you and I can both agree with this. A lot of the big clubs look at trade pieces. So they might draft a Burns knowing that they don't want him in the long run, but they want to use him as trade bait to get these 2 or 3 other players that they really want. So,
Maybe.
you know, you never know. It very rare is it where somebody gets drafted by a team and gets pulled up to the majors by that team.
True.
So, yeah. All right, Dave, what do you have
All
to
right.
say as we exit the building for the final one of the regular season / championship? Congratulations to University of Tennessee. But Dave, what else do you have as we go out the door?
Oh, it's been a fun season, fun talking college baseball, and looking forward to doing it again next season and what the off season brings.
What the offseason brings exactly. Well, on my side, I absolutely have loved this. You pitched this idea to me before the season started, and I loved it because it gives me a chance to focus in on college baseball, which, as you have mentioned, is the core to the game. It's where it's still played as most pure, right? It's played for fun. It's not played for money. And so, I mean, there is some money, but it's not like in the MLB. And so, I'm very excited to see what this draft brings. I'm excited to see what we do with College K for next season.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, we'll talk to you soon.
All right. See ya.
Mhm.